are some people that were talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery. If you want to tell the truth about it, it is you who owes. It's you who owes. Why do you owe? Because somebody in those fields took stripes for you. Somebody, after those fields were ended and slavery was ended, somebody had to walk through Jim Crow for you. Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for you. There are people in their graves right now, and they are there because they were willing to stand up and fight for you. Those folks on the Edmund Pettus Bridge carrying American flags, take that, Colin Kaepernick, living in a society that he could scarcely acknowledge, something that he has never known, living with a bigotry that none of us can imagine. Carried American flags on that bridge, and when they were hit upside the head with nightsticks and shot with water hoses and knocked to the ground, they got up and picked those flags up and kept marching. And they did it for you. Nobody owes you anything. If anybody owes, it's you. Because you've been the benefactor of freedom. You are the one that owes. And what do you owe? You owe it to them to get up off your tail and get to school. And when you get to school, you owe it to them to get up off your tail at school and get to work and get some learning in your head. And once you get that schooling in your head and get out of that school, you owe it to them to get to work. And then when you get to work and you get married, you owe it to them to take care of your children and not let the government take care of your children. It's you who owe. Nobody owes you a single solitary thing. The sacrifice and blood that has been laid out in this nation on your behalf, there is a bill at your feet for it. It's time you got up off your tail and went and go pay it. And see, they love to talk about the mean tweets of Donald Trump. They love to talk about the shortcomings of George W. Bush. They love to talk about the incompetence or perceived incompetence of Ronald Reagan in his latter years. They love to talk about that perceived switch where the conservative party, where Republicans switch from being champions of believing in justice and freedom, switching over to being a bunch of yahoos who fly Confederate flags and cannot stand blacks and gays and Jews. And they're bigots. Let me tell you something about the switch. The switch is a lie, folks. The switch is a lie. The Republican Party is the same today that it was when it was conceived. It is the champion of freedom and equality. And in that word, sacrifice, I would dare any Republican to find in the annals of the Democratic Party where they have sacrificed like we have. You go back to the era of Reconstruction. See, oftentimes in history, we gloss over Reconstruction. It's just a word in a book where we say, well, there was a Civil War, which was terrible and horrible, and guys in gray and blue ran at each other and shot each other, and the gray people said, Yahoo! And the blue people flew the American flag, and it was horrible, and yes, it was terrible. And then there was Reconstruction. And Reconstruction lasted for a little while, and then everything was fine. No. No, it wasn't fine. During Reconstruction, Republicans proved who they were. They proved who they were. All across the South, there were Republicans who absolutely 100% gave their lives. And I'm not talking about their fortunes. I'm not talking about their homes. I'm not talking about their reputation. I'm not telling you they were called names. They gave their lives. They lie in their graves to this day because they stood up for the premise of freedom in this nation, because they fought for what was right.